everybody. Excellent. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you. Welcome to SWE Local Seattle. I want to take a moment and congratulate you all for attending this conference. There are so many benefits of being a SWE member, from SWE's advocacy work, SWE's Career Center, and leadership and skill development. The one thing you can really leverage at SWE Local conferences is networking. SWE Locals are a great middle ground between your section or affiliate events and the annual conference. What I mean by that is you have the opportunity here to expand your network. That network will include people like all of us in the room, like-minded SWEPL that are here today to better themselves and the profession. These SWE Locals are much easier to manage than the many things that are always happening all at once at annual conference. So like any opportunity, it's up to you to take advantage. Make the effort to make new connections. You may find somebody that helps you get to the next session, get that job, or become a lifelong friend. In my many years as a SWE member, I know I've found all three. As you know, SWE holds diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in very high regard. In fact, inclusive environment is one of SWE's core values. As part of an inclusive and respectful organization, we want to offer the following land acknowledgement. We acknowledge with respect that we gather on the ancestral homelands of the Cayuse, Umatilla, Walla Walla, Duwamish, Suquamish, Snoqualmie, Muckleshoot, and Stillaguamish. We honor with gratitude the land, waterways, and the people who have been its stewards throughout the generations. We also honor their elders, past and present, as well as future generations. We recognize Indigenous organizations, such as the American Indian Science and Engineering Society, who are doing this work. This calls us to commit to continuing to learn how to be better stewards of the land we inhabit as well. Thank you. Before we begin, I want to draw your attention to the proclamation letters presented by King County and the City of Seattle. Both proclamations can be found on the SWE mobile app home screen. As you hopefully know, the theme for this year is A World of Opportunity Awaits. SWE Locals are a relatively new program within SWE. The first SWE Local was in Amsterdam in 2015, followed by India in 2016. The first US-based SWE Local programs were held in 2017. This year, SWE will host 5 SWE Local programs. Over the past couple of weeks, SWE has held some great programs in Detroit and most recently Hartford. After our program here in Seattle, SWE will host 2 global programs. The first will be in Bengaluru, India at the end of April, and then Barcelona, Spain on the 25th and 26th of May. If you have friends or colleagues near any of these cities, or just want to go see the world a little bit, please encourage them or consider attending yourself. Each city has developed an excellent local program. Now, if you haven't downloaded the SWE app, I recommend that you do so, probably sooner rather than later. It is your central communicator for all things for this conference. Schedules, info on speakers, career fair partners, and even the ability to post social media are all located within that app. And speaking of partners, I would like to take a moment to thank our SWE Local Seattle partners. The organizations you see on the screen are both invaluable for their support and their commitment to SWE's mission. Another group I would like to extend my gratitude to is the many people who make SWE Local Seattle a reality. Would the following people who are involved in growing the SWE community locally please stand to be recognized? Section leaders from the Seattle area, SWE Local Seattle Host Committee, the SWE Local Advisory Board, members of our SWE Board of Directors, and our headquarters team. These are the people who help make We Local Seattle happen. And if you want a great place to become more involved, the local host committees and advisory boards are great places to start. Thank you again to all of you for your work and support. Before I introduce this morning's keynote, I want to let you know how to participate in the question and answer session that will take place immediately following her presentation. If you have a question for the speaker, please enter it in the We Local app on your phone. To do that, you open the app and go to the session title. Scroll to the bottom of that screen, and then add your question where it says Submit Your Questions. Pretty easy, right? I hope to see a lot of great questions come through. A few moments ago, I mentioned the sponsor partners who help make this We Local conference a reality. Before I introduce our keynote presenter, I want to acknowledge the support of our platinum partner, SpaceX. As part of their support, I offer this short video from SpaceX.
SpaceX was founded to develop the transportation systems to take people to other planets, make the human species truly interplanetary. We have amazing people that do amazing work, I think largely because people have really bought into the vision of taking people to other planets. Mars being the first point. Our employee base is our most valuable resource. We couldn't do the crazy, insane things that we do without the help of every individual here at SpaceX. Every employee's input counts, and we need to make sure that all that input is pulled together so that we can innovate. Without different voices and different opinions and looking at different ways of doing things, you're really stifling the ability to change. And innovation is all about our willingness to change. It's incredibly important to let people speak to you, leveraging their backgrounds, their experience, and their history. You learn from people's feedback, and it's really important for everybody to feel like they can raise their hand and express their opinion about better ways to design something, better ways to test something, better ways to build something. We actually have a really long way to go to achieve what I think is the optimal diverse workforce, but we're focused on it. I'm committed to it, the company's committed to it. Diversity makes us a better company. We need everybody's skills and experience and know-how in order to achieve these extraordinary things.
Thank you to SpaceX and all of our sponsor partners who support SWE and its mission. Presenting this morning's keynote is Yawen Lee. With over 20 years of industry experience, Yawen has held a variety of roles within Nestle, including leading the technical packaging team across Nestle USA. And I'm pretty excited about having a keynote in the morning for somebody that works for a chocolate company. I don't know about all of you. She is currently the Vice President of Technical and Manufacturing for Nestle Coffee Partners, where she leads a team responsible for manufacturing, product packaging, development, quality, regulatory, engineering, and sustainability. Outside of the office, Yawen and I have something in common. She is an avid baker, a macaron perfectionist, and she also enjoys cruising on a motorcycle while appreciating the magnificent sights of the Pacific Northwest. Everyone, please give a warm, sweet welcome to Yawen Lee.
Hello. Good morning and happy Friday. And I do also want to say hi to the folks in the back. I didn't forget all of you. So let me do, oops, I cut a little bit too fast. I saw a sneak preview of the other slides, but it's okay. So I do want to thank Dana for such a wonderful introduction of me, as well as I do want to take a quick moment to thank SWE for inviting me here to give this talk. I am very, very honored, as well as very, very excited to attend this event. And so I have a lot to share with you, so I'm going to just jump right in and get started. So from the title of the talk, you know that it's going to be about work-life balance. so, specifically, what riding a motorcycle taught me about work and life. And so, what I want to do right now first is to get a quick gauge from this group here, so I know who in here potentially have mastered work life. Or maybe master is a little bit of a strong word, so maybe who have been able to have great control of your work life. So you may be happy, you may be content on where you are. So I know there are some of you out there, so please raise your hand, don't be shy. I love it, loving it. So now keep your hand raised for a little bit longer, just a tad longer for me. So then now the rest of you who don't have your hands up, make a mental note who these folks are. Okay, so keep your hands up just for a little bit, make a mental note now. And then now what I want you, okay, thank you. So you can put your hands down so your arm doesn't get sore. So then now what I want you to do is, for those of you who don't have your hands raised, take a moment during the break, the rest of today and tomorrow, as you have free time, search these folks out. Go talk to them. Go understand, how they went through their journey of work life and achieving work life. Understand what their tips, tricks, what worked, what doesn't work, and talk to them. Because then as you embark in your own journey, those are all wealth of knowledge that you can then take to then figure out what do you need? How do you go tackle your work life? Okay? So thank you for that quick exercise for me. So then now, when we think about work-life balance, and I mentioned that I was going to talk about motorcycle, but I'm not going to go there yet. I first want to talk about why I even picked this topic. Right? There's plenty of topic for me to choose from, but why did I pick this topic? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's more important now than ever that why we need to talk about this right now and why I picked this topic. So, I don't know if any of you know how long the phrase work-life balance has been around. Anybody? Maybe they could do a quick Google search right now. How long have work-life balance, that phrase, been coined? I do know for sure that it's been decades. And the reason why is because I remember graduating from college, entering my first corporate job, that terminology already somehow shared and embedded into my vocabulary. And that was, being very, very honest, that was like 25 years ago, right? So, meaning it's been around. So we're not going to be here to reinvent what work-life balance is. We're not going to be here to say, hey, I have the perfect answer, right? But what we are here to do is to engage on the topic right now because we need to talk about it. And why? So, picture-wise, very, very much easy for you to be able to see why we need to talk about it right now. We're in this transformational period.
visibility is important. And now that you know me, if you see me, please come up and introduce yourself after a session, or if you just see me in the hallway. If you don't, I might just photobomb your selfies. You may want to check your pictures from yesterday. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's sessions. Today's keynotes and sessions look to be just as inspiring and informative. And I hope you were able to get out and see a bit of Seattle last night, at least after attending the We Local celebration, right? I happened to like Anas's facts yesterday on Seattle so much that I thought I'd give you a little bit of little history myself. So you all know Seattle's famous Pike Place Market, right? Yes, maybe a little? Okay. The market originally started due to overpriced onions. If anybody would like to start a market to help with egg prices, I am welcome to that. The price of produce was soaring in 1906, so the city suggested a public market where farmers could directly sell their produce for a lower price. Opening in 1907, Pike Place Market is the longest continuously operating farmers market in the country. And by the main entrance, there is a giant bronze pig. Her name is Rachel. She weighs 550 pounds and is very friendly to strangers, so make sure you say hello when you see her. I'm sure I will be taking a selfie with her at some point this weekend. Also, Pike Place Market is home to over 250 women-owned businesses. That is worth some applause, I think. So get out, support them. I will say I fact-checked that today because that sounded high to me. There are websites that tell you what businesses are those women-owned businesses. So please go support those businesses if you make it over to the market. And speaking of support, we have a number of sponsor partners supporting Seattle. You can see the names of our partners on the screen. This morning's keynote is sponsored by Collins Aerospace. All of the applause. This is special that Collins is both supporting SWE and today's keynote, who happens to work at Collins Aerospace. To acknowledge their support of SWE and its mission, I'd like to introduce a representative from Collins Aerospace to say a few words. Please welcome Layla Velick from Collins Aerospace to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Lila, and I'm currently an HR partner with the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion team at Collins Aerospace. At Collins Aerospace, we're working side by side with our customers, our partners, our dream, design, and deliver solutions that redefine the future of our industry. Likewise, we want our employees to feel seen, heard, and included. That is why we find value in partnering with SWE, who provides us with access to a community of highly qualified women who empower other women to succeed. Today, I have the honor of introducing a highly qualified woman who has not only done it all, but has also succeeded in the balance between her personal life, her work life, and from being there for her young children to taking care of her parents, all while building a career and creating a strong presence in her community. She started off as a young engineer in Nebraska and has worked her way to being a powerful leader, supporting a global team of auditors, quality managers, and engineers. She is the Quality Systems Compliance Director with Collins Aerospace in York, Nebraska, leading a team in all things ISO and AS9100 aerospace standards. Her commitment to SWE goes way further than being a member of the organization. Previously a SWE Audit Committee Chair and a past president of Eastern Nebraska SWE. In 2020, she earned the SWE Global Leadership and Emerging Leader Award. In 2019, the SWE Emerging Leader Award, as well as the 2018 Manufacturing Institute Science, Technology, Engineering, and Production Ahead Award. And in 2017 was named the Plant Engineering Magazine's Engineering Leader Under 40. Prior to that, she received SWE's 2012 Outstanding Counselor Award and a 2011 SWE Distinguished New Engineer Award. Needless to say, she's been a strong mentor and a leader with the Society of Women Engineers, Collins Aerospace, a mother, a caretaker, and a member of her community. She is Angel McMulligan. Please join me in welcoming her to the stage.
Thank you, Layla. We appreciate your support that you provide SWE and today's keynote. A quick reminder before we jump into the keynote, if you're looking to start a career or make a change, the career fair starts immediately following this session and will run until 1 p.m. today. And I am excited for all of the new adventures in life and career that will begin with the meetings that happen there. Good luck to everybody who attends that career fair. Also, question and answer. We will hold that session right after Angel finishes her presentation. Use the SWE app on your phone to enter questions, much like yesterday. Go to the session, click on the submit question at the bottom, and we will filter through those questions, keep them coming, because I'm very much looking forward to speaking with Angel after her presentation.
Thanks, Dana. Thank you. Good morning, party people. How are you, SWE? That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome. So, as they shared, my name is Angel McMullen-Gunn, and I am with Collins Aerospace. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about my career, but then we're going to talk about all of your careers, because your careers should be on your terms. And so I will, as I said, share a little bit about myself. I am the Director of Quality Compliance at Collins. I work remotely out of Nebraska, but I support over 300 sites worldwide with Collins Aerospace. I lead a team of over 20 auditors that check on the compliance within Collins, and also we are part of Raytheon Technologies. So a lot going on there, but I have a long history with SWE. And I want to share a little bit more about how SWE has helped me within my career, how SWE has helped me stay in Nebraska, because that is what has been important to me. And then, as I said, we'll talk a little bit more about where you could take your career and what your terms look like. So if you think about your career today, think about what those terms are. What does success look like for you? And this is something that, I've polled some of my coworkers and peers and friends, and some of the words and things that they shared with me is, I want to be able to travel when I reach a certain point in my career. I want to make sure and have work-life balance, or I want to make sure that I become an expert. Some folks want to have families, others do not. That is absolutely okay. So I want to take the time and ask all of you to maybe just pause. If you've got something to write on, this is going to be a little bit interactive today. So maybe jot down a few things of how do you define success? What are your terms when it comes to your career? So I'm going to take a pause there real quick, give you a couple seconds to jot those down. All right. So as I said, I'm going to share a little bit about my career and how I've gotten to the place where I am today. This is me. I am 18 years old in this photo. And when I went to the University of Nebraska, I truly went into engineering to design cars. As you know, I didn't end up there, but that's what my mind was set on at the time. I was going to be a career woman. I did not want a family. I truly went into engineering to get out of Nebraska, and I will tell you that at that time, my priorities were good shopping, I wanted to have a shoe closet, and I wanted to live in a big city. So it was obviously, you heard my bio, that didn't happen, but that's okay. Because I will say, shortly after this photo was taken, I met my soon-to-be husband on my 19th birthday. And he was one of those guys that swept me off my feet. He actually lived next door. And it was, again, unexpected, but a great surprise. So we're actually celebrating our 25th anniversary this year together. But yeah, so I went to college at the University of Nebraska. I studied mechanical engineering. Started with about 6 other females in my class. There were 2 of us that did end up finishing. And the Society of Women Engineers in college was truly what helped me get through the very large change when it came to my college experience. I had graduated from a small rural Nebraska high school. There were 50 in my class, and I will tell you the first class I took when I got to the university was Chem 111, and it was 400 people in this class. It was very much a culture shock. So excuse me, I actually sat on the stairs in this classroom for the first 2 weeks, and it was extremely hard, and as I said, a culture shock. But SWE was able to help me find my people, right? SWE was able to support me. They helped me find study groups. They helped me find friends to go hang out with after study groups. And SWE was really what helped me get through college. And I'll tell you, I didn't have the best GPA by far. I was excited to get to a 3.0 by the time I ended college. But again, having that SWE support network was something that was truly important to me to help me get through my undergrad. So while I was doing my undergrad school, September 11th happened. I actually had a co-op at Collins Aerospace, and then the bottom kind of dropped out of the market, right? So I ended up working at the University of Nebraska. I had been laid off, was kind of, feeling sorry for myself, and one of my professors approached me and said, "Hey, would you be willing to work in my research lab?" So I joined his team, and we were able to do, research on, we did a project that included boron carbide neutron detection. So we created a brand new material that we were testing that could truly detect neutrons. So for those of you that maybe aren't familiar or don't remember, neutrons are truly neutral, right? There's not a positive charge, there's not a negative charge. They're somewhat hard to see. So as you can see on the screen there, we created this material. You could pass a photo voltage across it that was like 9 volts essentially, and we were able to see neutrons and detect them, which these now are actually devices that actually can see like nuclear weapons and things. So it was a very exciting time to be a part of that, and I was able to support 2 international patents. We published with the Journal of Applied Physics, and we did a couple of different conferences, including like SPIE, and it was a really great time. However, I will say after doing research one summer, excuse me, I'm so sorry, after doing research one summer with a joint venture with Louisiana State at their synchrotron source, I kind of got caught between some politics within 2 professors. And my terms, although, as you can see there, grad school was important to me. I was a newlywed. I will say I went down and did that research, and I missed our 2nd anniversary, right? So it was kind of, there was a lot of things pulling on me at the time. And when I got caught up in the politics between the 2 professors kind of fighting over me, I was kind of like, you know what? I think I'm out. I don't want to do this. This isn't something that I want to be a part of. And so with that, I said, I'm going to walk away from a full ride when it came to pursuing my master's. I walked away from a materials engineering degree. I did not complete it. I did not defend my thesis, although I had pretty much all of it written. And from there, I went to work at Kawasaki. And total 180 from what I had been doing as a research engineer. There I was a graphics and paint engineer. And this was very cool because I got to create lots of different graphics. So what you see there, that is Meteor Blue, and I did create that, and I got to name paint. I also created Spy Gray, as well as a lot of the different camouflage that you see on ATVs and UTVs today. So within the society, within Kawasaki, the Society of Women Engineers still played a huge role because I was the only female engineer that was working at Kawasaki. It's a fairly large plant, about 5,000 people. And as you know, Japanese culture is a little bit different than some of the other work cultures in industry. So again, SWE was my sounding board. SWE was a place for me to stay connected with other women, to stay connected with our community. I started doing a lot with outreach, and it also helped me stay connected with the University of Nebraska. I became the SWE counselor for the collegiates there, which was pretty awesome. We had a lot of really good times and a lot of fun planning a lot of different things within industry and also helping the collegiates learn. So SWE again was kind of my foundational cornerstone when it came to my early career. So after about 2 years with Kawasaki, I got a call from that aerospace company that I used to co-op with, right? And I was called back to be the manufacturing engineer and actually move a hydraulic jet fuel line from Connecticut to Nebraska, which I will tell you, fluid dynamics is not my forte. I was really very scared when it came to that. I probably couldn't spell Bernoulli's today, but we were able to, you know, Collins was great in that I had a lot of mentors that helped me along the way. So I was able to transition the line from Connecticut to Nebraska, and I started having career conversations with my boss about what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. The York, Nebraska site is very small, 200 people. Here again, I was the only female engineer at the time. And you know, I worked with other women, which was awesome. There were women in finance, there were women in EH&S, but I also, you know, being a female engineer, you kind of feel like you need to have, you know, that again, sounding board. So once again, SWE to the rescue, right? Within SWE, I was able to take leadership roles. I became the vice president and then president of the Nebraska, Eastern Nebraska SWE section. And I was also able to kind of transition and transfer some of that even into my performance review at work. So I started having conversations with my boss that I want to be a supervisor, right? I really want to move up into management. I enjoyed the technical side of things, and I was able to master that craft and have a great foundation when it came to testing jet fuel apparatus. But then it was something more where I wanted to work more with people, and I wanted to learn more about continuous improvement. So that's kind of how I ended up getting a couple of master's degrees. I got an engineering management degree from the University of Nebraska to help me with my career. That was something that I identified with my supervisor at the time. And then they gave me, while I was on maternity leave, they gave me the opportunity as a promotion to come back and take over shipping and receiving, as well as being the manufacturing engineer. So I know what you're all thinking because I thought it too. Like, what do I know about shipping and receiving? I know nothing about logistics. I don't know what a bill of lading is. And it was something where I was able to work with that team and use my engineering mindset because improvement is improvement, right? And nothing is perfect. If everything was perfect, we wouldn't be here as engineers, right? And so I was able to work with that team to say, how can we make things better? What's the thorn in your side when it comes to your daily tasks? And working with them, I was able to also create a Six Sigma Black Belt project that I ended up getting another master's degree out of, and that was pretty awesome too, to be able to blend my work with my school. And I got my master's in quality systems engineering at that time. So just really great opportunities bringing those things together. I also put on my performance review the Society of Women Engineers, the leadership that I have been doing within the Nebraska section, leading meetings, mentoring others, and so it was really awesome to kind of bring all of that together. As you can see in my Venn diagram, something that was really important to me was also being connected personally within my community. So I started volunteering at the library. So you can see my son was born. That's my son Lucian. He is 15 years old and a freshman in high school now. But they would have like toddler time at our local library Thursday nights. And so while he would go do his toddler time and get some time in with friends, I started talking to the librarians there. They had a pretty stellar computer lab. And we started kind of doing some brainstorming one night, excuse me, and we were able to actually talk through and secure a we created a grant application, and we got 3 3D printers for our library, which was pretty awesome. So I started teaching 3D printing at our library to kids, which was great. A story that I will share if you are thinking about doing something similar is consider your ages that you're working with, because we were able to, like I said, put these classes on. And one day I was hosting, I think it was like kindergartners to 2nd grade, and we were in the computer lab, and the majority of kids this age have never seen a keyboard or a mouse. I didn't think about this, so they're tapping screens, right? Because they're used to iPads at school, and I just so again, consider your audience. And consider the technology is appropriate for your audience, because we kind of had to take a step back and say, okay, this is how you use a mouse with some of these littles, and it ended up being great. We did a lot of different little fun things of 3D printing, like zipper pulls and things for their coats. So it was a lot of fun, but I always have said I want to stay connected with my community, and that was a really great opportunity. So things were going really great with that career. I got that promotion to a supervisor after doing the logistics, shipping and receiving for a few months. They actually promoted me, and I was able to be a supervisor over machinists. And things were going great until they weren't. My dad had gotten sick, and he was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. The company was really great in helping me navigate when my father got sick. However, there were some things that, at one point my boss was not as understanding as I wanted. So that was my tipping point. And I decided, after my father passed away, a few years later, I decided maybe I needed a change. And so I went to work at SWE by Schneider Electric. I was hired as the operations manager there. And with that move, I was truly focusing on the career growth. And I got some very good feedback from my new boss that, I had gone from the aerospace where we make different widgets that go into airplanes, right? And we're doing small batches, like maybe making 10 of these valves or 20 of these drive shafts. And I went from that to SWE, where we did over 100,000 miniature circuit breakers on an automated line. Like no humans are touching these circuit breakers. So it was a great learning opportunity. I was very much out of my comfort zone. But my boss at that point also said, I really want you to work on your business acumen. So once again, SWE to the rescue, right? With that, I was able to, I said I wanted to look at finance a little bit more. So I joined the Society Finance Committee, and it was a really great place for me to learn, to be able to speak about finance. I will put the plug in that anybody can join our society committees. You just have to raise your hand and say, I want to learn. And it was a great safe space for me to build my business acumen, to learn the financial speak of different things. And it helps kind of get the ball rolling for my career on the operations management side of things. So SWE was a really great help in that regard. I did that for a couple of years, and it was absolutely awesome. Additionally, I also, at the time we had regions, so I chaired the Region 13 conference. We called it ICON 13. And that was a really great experience as well. As you can see there, that middle photo, I was so pregnant. The conference happened and my daughter was born 3 days later. So she truly was born into SWE, and it was absolutely great. Additionally, the other photo you see there was when I was awarded the SWE Counselor of the Year, because I had continued to keep my ties with the University of Nebraska. So a lot of really great things happening there. To stay connected, this plant site was not in York. It was in Lincoln, which is a little bit larger plant site. About 1,000 people worked there. So I joined Junior Achievement, again, to stay connected with the community and to continue working with youth. And then I was also asked to join the board of directors for our local YWCA. as their technical advisor, which was a really great opportunity. I could use what I love and share that information with them. So created a couple of different STEM programs and projects for after school. But then I also said, hey, I really am trying to build my business acumen. Can I join the finance committee? Just sit in, learn some things. So again, another really great way to learn. And all of these different things and opportunities, again, I made sure to put on my performance reviews. So I could share with my boss of, hey, I'm on the board of directors for this, and I'm on the finance committee. And I also just chaired this conference where we were able to work with different people in the community to bring all of these. I think we had about 300 attendees that year at our conference. We raised this money with all of these different sponsors. And those were the things that helped me get a little bit more, gain a little more responsibilities within my career. They added materials and logistics manager again. Woohoo, I can't get out of logistics. But again, it all comes back to that problem solving. And so that was a really great experience. After a few years at Square D, I got a call back from Collins. They had a quality manager position open. And that's what I really wanted to go in. I really loved when I went through that quality systems degree. So I was the site quality manager back at York, 200 people again, fairly small. But we were able to do some really cool things, and that I was able to work with the site, work with the quality engineers, work with people that I had led as machinists, and we were able to take that plant site to reduce scrap by over 30%. That was about $400,000 within a year by just truly focusing on the culture, making quality fun. I know a lot of you are thinking, how can quality be fun? But we truly we would celebrate the good. We would we would celebrate when we found non-conforming parts because they weren't getting to our customer. We would celebrate with our teams to say, hey, this cell has reduced their scrap by this much. So we're gonna serve them dinner. They are the quality cell of the quarter. And then we also played quality bingo to help with our quality culture. And this truly was, we were drawing different numbers. We would ask questions every week about quality, about our quality management system and QMS. And then if you got a bingo, you got a gift card to one of the local shops. If we had an escape to our customer where they got non-conforming parts, the game was over, right? So everybody wanted to win money. Everybody wanted to know what just happened, that this game had ended. And it was a really great way to build the quality culture. And those are things that I had honestly learned through SWE. You celebrate the good. My SWEsters within Nebraska were the ones that helped me brainstorm some of those really great ideas. So after doing that a few years, I was promoted to Associate Director for Global Ops. I was in charge of 10 sites worldwide, a couple domestically within the US, Puerto Rico, Singapore, Poland, and Indonesia. And that was a really great opportunity. I loved what I did. We were improving our QMS, we were reducing our non-conforming products, but the travel at that time just wasn't sustainable. My daughter was in kindergarten that year, and I traveled 37 weeks, and it was brutal. But I will also say in the same breath that within my business, I love that I was able to raise my hands and tell my boss, like, I love what I do, but this is not right for me right now. That's absolutely okay to say that. And you know what, it was awesome because he said, you know what, Angel, I get it. He's like, you've been doing a great job, you've been rocking this. He goes, let's find something else that fits you and your family a little bit better right now. So I moved over as the Associate Director of Customer Quality, working with Embraer in Brazil. So I still got to travel sometimes. When I travel, that's my meal time. That's when I can watch a movie on an airplane that maybe my kids wouldn't be able to watch, right? And so it was a really great opportunity. So along the way, again, SWE has been my sounding board. I've stayed connected with my local section. I was no longer on the finance committee. I actually, when I started within the site quality manager role, I got asked to move over to the audit committee for the society. And I learned a lot about how our society works, and learned how the finance committee works with the board of directors and the board of trustees. And it was a really great learning experience because I will tell you later, a few years later, just last year, I was asked like, hey, I saw that you had been on the audit committee for the society. Have you ever thought about a career in compliance? And that helps me get to my promotion that I just got last April. And as I said, now I'm the compliance director at Collins Aerospace, leading over 300 sites worldwide. So again, I've been able to stay in Nebraska. That's something that is very important to me. I would not be able to do what I do without the community that I have, without my amazing husband, who is everything that I am not, but then also my family. And so you see there the pictures of 3 of my grandmas. I'm very fortunate and blessed that I had 3. And you may have seen me speak at some of the other conferences in regards to being a caretaker and being in the sandwich generation. So after my father passed away in 2011, that left me as the caretaker. My father was an only child, and he had a stepmom as well as his mom. So at the top, myself and my Nemo were wearing our sunglasses there. That's my dad's stepmom. She was diagnosed with cancer in 2016 and passed away shortly thereafter in 2017. And again, I was the caretaker. It's just myself and my brother. My brother lives in Houston. And so although she was 4 hours away, it was making sure she had the support she needed to get to chemo and things like that. Right below her is my grandma Ruth. That is my dad's mom, my maternal grandmother. She had some health issues. She was diabetic. She was going blind. And I remember right, I believe it was in 2015, I was actually at a SWE conference. It was Nashville, and got the call that she had been found unresponsive and was in the hospital. So navigated that, went home from Nashville, and her health kind of continued to decline and go back and forth. And she went back and forth from the hospital a couple of different times, but she ended up pulling out of it, and she then was in the nursing home. So I had to navigate nursing home care. Once again, SWE to the rescue, because my SWEsters were folks that could help me. They connected me with different resources and helped me understand a better way to take care of my grandma, Ruth. And she did pass away in 2021 of COVID, unfortunately. But it was SWE that truly helped me, the folks that were my sounding board and listened. And so my grandma, my maternal grandmother, is in the nursing home. She's actually going to celebrate her 95th birthday in May. And yes, right? Woo! And again, I couldn't do what I do without my support network and without staying in Nebraska to make sure that I have that. So you see a couple of the different awards that I've got going on there, and then I just want to put the plug in of my daughters in Girl Scouts now. So I'm a leader of a Girl Scout troop. SWE and Girl Scouts, like 2 peas in a pod, right? So we have a lot of fun with our Scout troop. They are a SWE Next troop as well. We do the dual thing there. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. So now you're probably wondering, great, Angel, great stories. What about me? This is my career. I want to talk about my terms. So let's get back to that. I'm going to go to the Venn diagram because we all love a good Venn diagram, right? So I want you to take the time to reflect about not only some of maybe the different internships or different roles you've had within your career, but also think about your volunteerism, because all of those things are so transferable to the workplace, okay? So think about when it comes to your career, don't think about, I want to be the next this person. Think about what's important to you. For me, especially during COVID, I learned I need to work with a team. This is something that if I am an individual contributor, I need to have those people around me, and I need to, that is what's truly important to me for my mission. Additionally, I love being a technical expert. If I can be on a shop floor helping folks out, that really can get me in the groove and really energize me. Think about your family. What's important to you? As you saw throughout my career, things changed. I didn't end up where I thought I would be, and that's absolutely okay. So, and then also think of you personally. And don't think that just because I put the career at the top of the Venn diagram, that career is top every time. I was even considering like rotating it, right? Like sometimes you're going to need to put yourself first. In fact, you should do that way more than what we probably are doing today, right? Sometimes your family is going to come first. So again, I want you to reflect on your past experiences. Take a second, write those down. What is important to you? What are your values? What brings you energy? What brings you joy? Think about when you have been your best at work. Those are the things that you can build on, and those are the things that you should be having career conversations about with your supervisor at work. Reflect on your past. Think about your achievements. Think about where you thrive. Was it with a team or was it working individually? These are the things that you need to definitely let your boss know about, because that's going to help you succeed and that's going to help the business succeed, right? And your family and yourself. It all fits together. So once you have that list of when you were your best self, I want you to think about your priorities. Number one, always put your mask on first. I struggle with this so much. And that's why I want to keep telling all of my SWEsters out there, all of you, always put your mask on first before helping others. Think about what fills up your cup. For me, it's gardening. It's truly like getting my hands dirty and the soil under my fingernails and then being able to grow things. Think about where you can improve or where your priorities lie at home. And then think about at work. So I know this is a little abstract, just kind of thinking like that. So you can also think about it in engineering terms. Everybody loves a good SWOT analysis, right? So think about your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so this is a tool that I've used throughout my career to have those career conversations. I do have the template. If you want to take a photo of the QR code, it will take you to the Google Doc. I cannot take credit for this template. I got it at a SWE conference, and I cannot tell you who gave it to me or where it came from, but please know that I thank SWE for having this. But it's truly helped me. So you can see I have over on this, let's see, that's the left-hand side. Those are the careers that I've done. And at the top, those are the careers that I want to do. And then that mission and clarity of purpose that we were just talking about, that is something that you can have those conversations with your boss. So with that, I'm going to go back to, we started with how do we define success? What's important? Think about your priorities. But then I hope that we found a little bit of clarity so that you can have these conversations. So again, there's the link to the career template if you weren't able to get it before. And then absolutely please connect with me. That's what the purple QR code is. I'm absolutely open to help others, to mentor, to have career conversations. Because, again, SWE has done so much for me, and I love being able to give back to you all. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Angel, for that. We're going to have a seat over here and answer some questions. I know personally a lot of that resonated with me. I have new life goals like a shoe closet, things I didn't know that existed, so new life goals for me, many others too. But as we've got questions rolling in, before we go over to those questions, I'd like to know, you balance a great career, kids, and caring for aging parents and grandparents. How do you make time for yourself, and how do you put your mask on first?
Good question. It is so hard, so hard. I truly am a planner and a scheduler, so I have to put those things on my calendar, whether it's yoga, whether it's taking, my dogs for a 30-minute walk during the middle of the day to kind of take a break. Especially when I'm traveling, I make sure that I take some time for myself. I always like to travel. Honestly, I love to travel with like a nice mask or something to do at night when I'm in my hotel room. Travel is truly my me time, and when I'm at home, I have to make sure and schedule it and hold those boundaries as sacred time for me. So it's a challenge for sure.
We did talk some, I'm not gonna lie, I did dinner with Angel 2 nights ago, so be jealous. But we did talk some about the flying, and like we talked about before, watching movies on a plane when you get that opportunity. Similar like situation here, my children are a little bit younger, but having the opportunity to just unplug from life, watching movies that my children won't watch. I have 2 boys. They could care less if I want to watch The Princess Diaries for the millionth time.
Yes.
So I do often, if you're sitting by me on the plane, that might be what's on, I'm sorry. As far as finding the confidence to make those changes, you've made some pretty drastic career leaps, particularly going from naming paint over, leaving the paint making space, let's say.
Yes, yes.
How do you get the confidence to make those changes?
It was hard. I'll say when I got called back for that first manufacturing job, I think I turned them down 2 or 3 times because I was like, I can't move a manufacturing line. I was in my early 20s, and it truly was my husband's to be like, you can do this, you got this. And also talking through to some of the people I had already networked with when I was an intern in co-op with this company to say, there are people here that will support you.
What I like about where do you have to submit online to scan a QR code?
You're not with Deborah. What are you looking for?
Yeah, because it's just not as much. But I was wondering because movie actually does much money in real life,
and you can talk about maybe how you got these skills. Like on my project, I was the scrum master, and I had to make sure all the schedule and everybody knew what they were supposed to do. I used these skills. So all of that.
this one is you have to be a U.S. citizen. I think this one, if you're a resident, I think you can apply for that. But I assume that you go through sort of like so that you can really start to see what you actually are more interested in. And then you can kind of, once you finish the new graduation programs, you can find out pretty good regularly. The goal is to get U.S. citizens to go, be interested in graduate school, and then come back. Do you hire No way! Fundraise to come to these things. Yeah. Really?
We have a very large focus on accounting because of the same. So it's good industry.
We have also a lot of like classes in hiring and things that really always in our supply chain. They're utilizing all that
Oh, I see.
information. Well, we have Office of Science, which is one of our national programs this year doing recruitment, so I do encourage you to check it out. There's a lot of things in they're quality engineers at manufacturing. Yes. So talk to them because they are part of our network, but they do their own term. So we're basically sharing information about our student programs. I work on the job. Every day is different. My internship program
Not for civil engineering, no. We offer mechanical engineering and electrical engineering.
I'm the role that we're there in our
career ladder.
Okay.
Yeah, are you interested in more like front-end or back-end? Do you know? That's okay to say no.
Front-end and back-end.
Those are two. Yeah, do you have a...
Central California. That's our area that we
We can be supplying the entire design and build that. So a lot for Boeing. We used to be a part of Boeing, and then we divested in 2005. So we started with them, we've expanded into Airbus, a lot of regional jets, and we're getting into the defense and space programs as well. So we're working on some space in the fall for our shuttles, the spacecraft, doing hypersonic missiles. We do some.
We actually started have applications open for internships starting in September.
A lot of different programs.
That's where all the jobs are and everything.
Or even professionals, right? Who are in their career, but maybe they want to pivot to a different company, like the speaker with Kawasaki and like all these different companies. So, yeah.
I love that. And so what I did is I just followed my interest, and that's where it led me into education. That's not my area.
Right. I really love working with students. It's like my favorite type of
The Department of Energy head, and just you get thanked for your service. Yeah.
Lots of different courses. Digital engineering, I put that for a while. It's so cool, isn't it? We are, yes.
based out of the Johnson Space Center. I work on
So we actually did all night. So last time the bridges last week were all made at PLA. And then actually I have my own team.
Right, you know, and I got another 2 years to think about what kind of work I want to do. And then they'll start, like, if there's a place,
decide how much mental bandwidth you have, because you know you can only if you're like
companies who go to them sometimes to see the aspect of we're looking for students to hire. Majority of it is individual. So I would say like my best advice is do a little bit of your research when you're doing internships. Ask them questions because it doesn't hurt.
So depending on where you are, geographic interests are, we've got offices up and down California.
Yes.
So it'd be worth checking out and see if they're doing it.
Are you working at
I'm in Washington, so our headquarters are Utah. When you enter Florida, are you open to anywhere?
Kind of like saying Washington or California.
Okay.
And they frantically ran around and found everything. So round of applause for them. But we had one standout professional who worked her network to find everybody and everything. So big round of applause for Rachel Morford. And then if hopefully she's here. If you want to come up, there's somebody pointing. Yay, come on up. We have this amazing basket for you. So again, thank you so much for participating in the scavenger hunt. We had a really fun time putting it together. So we're going to move on to our next prompt here, number 3. So we're going to talk about diversity and inclusion. Thank you.
We will host the keynote presentation. Immediately after the keynote, we will recognize the SWE Award recipients attending the conference. Who out there had a positive meeting at the career fair today? How about sessions? Did anyone attend what they thought was a really great session? Who made new connections today? SWE networks are powerful. They're powerful tools for both your personal and professional life. And if you're looking to get more involved in SWE, please reach out to your section leadership. Join a committee. I've even heard of people like this morning's keynote, Anne, who advanced their career based on the skills they learned volunteering with SWE. I also want to thank our sponsor partners one last time. I just mentioned how SWE networks are powerful. The organizations listed here support SWE and its mission. They are also a part of a network of employers that support diversity, equity, and inclusion. Please support them if you can, and or consider them as employers should you be in the job search market. As I mentioned earlier, we will not be holding a Q&A session after the keynote presentation. We will be transitioning directly into our awards segment. I spoke with our presenter, Christy, and she will stay for a few minutes after the program to speak with anyone who might have a question for her. Our closing session keynote presenter is Christy Mandigo. Christy is the Chief Engineer on Multi-Platform Radar Technology Insertion Program. She started at Raytheon in 2003 and has had numerous technical and strategic roles that have led her to this Chief Engineering position. She is known as one of the SMEs and mentors for digital engineering, model-based systems engineering, multi-CAD, and global product lifecycle management. Christy earned her bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering at Cedarville University and a master's in business administration and technical management through Phoenix University. Christy has more than 20 certifications in engineering and management. Christy is affiliated with the Society of Women Engineers, American Society of Mechanical Engineers, Disability In, Raytheon Management Club, Women and Disability ERGs, and Raytheon Innovation Center for work on a patent. Christy has been honored with multiple awards, ranging from Raytheon Technical Honors, Raytheon President's Award, Women of the Year, Women of Distinction, Diversity and Inclusion Awards, and she is a keynote speaker honoree. Christy is a recognized face in STEM and diversity, internal and external to Raytheon. And she's the author of a book, Ask Why, but not Why Me. She is the executive director of nonprofit Disability in Southern California, as well as an epilepsy advocate for the National Epilepsy Foundation. Everyone, please give a warm SWE welcome to Christy Mandigo.
Thank you. So, everybody's super excited about the closing, right? Everybody's pumped up to go back to work and beg themselves to go to work every day, right? Because I am. I get sometimes sad to go home and be like, well, Saturday, no one's going to work tomorrow. Yeah. But I have some amazing children, and they get so excited that their mom gets to go to work every day, and she's excited about work. They see me excited. They see me empowered. They see me able to teach other people to be their best selves every day. So these are some of the topics that we're going to discuss. There's a lot of material in the slides. I will not read them to you. If you want them, I can always send them to you, and there's always readers to read the slides to you if there's too much English on them. So, the first topic that I would like to talk about is self-motivation. In order to basically empower anybody or be empowered, you have to be motivated yourself. What motivates you? The one thing that I found early in my career that people thought that being motivated was a one-time thing. They got stagnant and then they got depressed. They didn't understand that being motivated is a daily thing. You have to get up every morning and be excited, have a purpose. It's exhilarating. If you come up and you get up every day and it's not like that, over 50% of your days, you're not going to be motivated. My days are filled with excitement because I work with a very empowered group of people. So the one thing I found was that empowerment does not work if you do not have boundaries. One of the things that you have to make sure is that you have boundaries. You set goals, you set competencies. You know what the skill sets are of your people. And those people know what their skill sets are. It's a two-way street. Just because you're being empowered by someone above you doesn't mean that people below you can be empowered. Not everybody is equipped to be empowered. And that's okay. Not everyone wants to be empowered. They're happy to come to work every day and just be told what to do, how to do it, why to do it. And that makes them them. And knowing that now, and knowing that those individuals are there, and that's what they need, that's okay. It really is. And getting frustrated that people don't want to jump in and be excited about what you're doing, it's okay. There's enough people out there that want to go blazing in and help out. But some of those individuals come in and try to do it too fast, right? Some people want to have more responsibility. They want to be able to approve everything. They want to be able to make decisions, talk to the customer, talk to the supplier. But they don't have the experience. But have you told them the why they don't have that experience? Have you explained to them when they will be able to do that? Have you given them that carrot? I came in 2003, so please don't do the math. Okay, it's not pretty. So I came in and I was like, well, I'm gonna get started, you know? Like give me, tell me what you need. Tell me what I can do. I wanna start doing everything. And what did they do? They put me in a room and they gave me a whole bunch of tables with balance on them. I'm like, what are those? What are those? And they wanted to make sure that I could do it.
They wanted to make sure that I went back to the basics. It wasn't just about me knowing Creo and SolidWorks and being able to do all the design. They made me go back to the beginning. They made me understand what a vellum is. And in the beginning, that deflated me. That made me kind of depressed. I was like, I didn't go to college to know what a vellum is. Right? I mean, come on. But they gave it to me for a reason. It made me understand the basics of what it took to do a design, why it took so long to get a design released, what was going on behind the scenes, why were they not able to repeat the design? Well, they had vellums. Let's be honest, right? And then they gave me perspective. Well, you know, the Blackbird was flown in so many days and so many months. Why can't we get a design up in the air and be able to fly it within, you know, except for 3 or 4 years? What's going on? Well, there's a whole bunch of processes, quality processes. We got a lot of speakers explaining all of that. But the bottom line is there's repeatability things that you can start learning. You can have learning development aspects, and you'll get that all from pausing and understanding your competencies, understanding the skill sets, knowing what is needed, when it's needed, and why it's needed. If you learn that, you can see one, do one, and teach one. I learned that from Grey's Anatomy, by the way. So, transparency builds trust. So the one thing I'm going to say is that empowerment requires trust. And to be able to gain trust, you have to be transparent. And it does not mean that the leader and the manager is the one that has to be transparent. It is everyone that needs to be transparent. It's really important to be able to celebrate those areas where everyone is on the same page, people are trusting, people are working together, and then people can actually resolve conflicts based on trusting each other. Now, one of the big things that I found when I empowered a team was that I had a repair manager, and I told him, like, okay, this module needs to be repaired. I'm going on vacation. This needs to go out the door. Well, I'm on vacation. Well, first thing that happened, the test module went down. Well, we can't repair it, we can't test it, we can't sell it off. What are we gonna do? Well, I was like, well, gee whiz, I'm a repair guy. So what do I do? Well, he knew that he could call me, but he was empowered to go and try to find out someone in his network to fix it and get it back on priority. So he went and told a couple people, and they said, well, I need some help with it. And they were like, well, Christy put you in charge. I'll put him on the priority list. I'll get that back up and running, and we'll get this sucker out. I came back from vacation Wednesday. That sucker got delivered the day before. When was it due? The day before that. But it still got done. And so just because we missed the deadline by a day, I was able to celebrate with my team because they worked together, they put it together, and although we didn't meet the entire deadline, we still got it done before I got back to go. And I didn't get a phone call because my folks knew that they had the boundaries to be able to fix that information, work together, and resolve that conflict. That's a success at my point. Now the customer, on the other hand, they were a little disappointed that we didn't meet the deadline, but they recognized that I wasn't there, and it still got done. Okay, so when you have boundaries, they have to be flexible for everyone, right? Especially, people talk about COVID all the time, right? It's something we're going to talk about for years to come. But work-life balance needs to be defined for you. What do you need to be successful for home, life, and yourself? Right? So, some people call me a workaholic. I find that very entertaining because my kids love it when I get a phone call from work. Okay? They clap. They get excited. My kid is on the ice playing hockey, and I get a phone call. And he's like, Mommy's important. Mommy's important. And they get joy out of it. What am I going to do, deprive my kids of joy? Right? So for me, I have made an environment for my 2 boys and my husband, and they're excited of what I'm able to do. They know that my job is on the front lines of a mission. They know that I'm not traveling just because I want to get free miles. They know that I'm not just going away because it's just a job. They know that what I do matters. They know that every night I'm going to call them and we'll have FaceTime and do homework. They know that every night I'm going to tell them a story. They know that if something happens and I need to fly home, I will be there. My husband knows that this is something that he's excited about, and this is something that we talked about before we had children. This is something that he is involved in. He has part of those decisions, and when I go to work, I'm working. But they know that there's a backbone, and I know that that backbone has to be on. On the flip side, my management knows that I have 2 kids. They know I have a husband. They know that things change about my schedule. There have been times where I need to tell them I have to go home because my kid is sick. The only asset they have of me, who is your backup? Are they empowered to do what you can do? So, one thing I would just make sure you have to know is, how are you going to say no? Who are you going to empower so that they can say yes? And what are your asks of yourself? What are your wants? What are your needs? And what are your non-negotiables? Right? And there's always going to be exceptions. Right? But if you don't communicate them, not just to your family, but for your boss, for your employees, for your peers, no one's going to know what you want. You got to get what you want. You got to get your desires. You need to tell them. It's not your boss's job to figure you out. Now, if you've told them time and time again of what you want, and they don't deliver, and there's something that you continue to do, and you are telling them what you need, you tell them the desires, and they ignore it, flat out ignore it, then that's time to walk away. And I have had to walk away. I stayed within the same company, but I have walked away. And the funny thing is normally when you get to that point and you start walking away, they'll ask you to come back. Or the best part is sometimes you'll walk away and then you become the consultant. You become the SWE because they can't live without you. And that is buying power for you. Because then you will get all your wants and your needs and your desires. Because now they really need you. The next thing is, when you're empowering other people, sometimes getting meetings underway and trying to get everyone to understand what you're doing in a meeting. Don't have meetings just to have status. Tell your folks that they need to be meaningful meetings, right? And getting people involved in the meeting, or having them run the meeting so that they actually understand why the meeting even exists. So they're not sitting there, oh my goodness, I have another meeting with Christine. Oh. So have them hold the meeting, right? so important. And if they don't see the value of that meeting, then maybe you don't need it. Maybe it's not something that you need to have. Maybe it's more of a one-on-one or one-on-two meeting because it's not really valuable to everyone in the room. So what I have found to empower my team is I get the person that normally is falling asleep in my meeting and I get them to run it. So, if you become part of my team and you are running my meeting, then that means you fell asleep in my meeting. So, managing failure without burnout. This is one of the things I struggled with the most. Failure is scary. You're like, oh my goodness, I can't fail. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to disappoint everybody, right? But if you're empowering yourself or empowering someone else, you need to manage failure prior to it happening. You need to have a strategy on how to manage your failures. How are you going to embrace your emotions? Kind of, we've talked about, crying and, what am I going to do and how am I going to deal with this, right? Sometimes it's role playing. You gotta figure these things out. You gotta put things together and try to figure out how you're going to make a failure into something productive. Make a plan. Understand that failure is part of life, right? So, you read my book, there's lots of failure in it. Lots of failure. But one thing I'm going to say is that I nearly failed out of engineering. And I had this guy, he came to me and says, you're not leaving engineering. I'm like, well, I'm having a seizure every week. How do you expect me to get through engineering if I'm having a grand mal seizure once a week? How do you think this is going to work? So I go home, and he's like, well, you're not allowed to quit until I come back. You're not allowed to quit. And so I went back home for spring break, and I'm like, oh dear, I promised that I wouldn't go. And his phone, he calls me over the summer, or I thought he was calling me. His girlfriend was on the other line. He said, well, I'm sorry to say, but your friend passed away with a brain aneurysm. And he told me about your story. He told me that you weren't thinking about failing, and you're not allowed to quit. You have to continue. You are the most talented engineer that is in that class. And I was like, well, I'm the only female engineer in my class. So, of course, I'm unique, right? And she was like, you're the most persistent person in this class. You've got to continue. You've got to continue. And he believed in you, and so do I. Well, 1 year later, I graduated with the Persistence Award at my university. And it was not just for engineering, it was for the entire graduating class. I ended up being the most persistent student in the graduating class that year, and I was overwhelmed by emotion because I really, really thought that I didn't know how I made it, to be honest with you. So if I can make it, you can make it, and you are going to make a difference in all of our company. Like all the companies that are out there that need engineers, you're here because you're exceptional. And believe that, believe it. But know that you will fail. You may not fail epically. You may not be able to see that you're failing until it's already there, but know how to manage it when it happens. Practice it. Talk to someone. Get a mentor or a coach. Because it's really important to be able to get back up and continue on. Okay. So, one thing that I had kind of like a aha moment was when I first started to get power at work. I was in charge, right? First time, I had to make decisions, and I was like, oh, I got power, right? And I started to assert it. And then I realized, this isn't working out very well. And I could tell that the reason why was because there was some micromanagement tendencies that I was doing, and I had to reevaluate how I was managing my team on this power trip. And then I realized that servant leadership and trying to get people to raise up and be part of the solution was a better option for me personally in my management style. Making sure that I give credit to my team and making sure that they understood that they were the part of the reason why we were a success. No one wants to have a powerhouse of a manager, and it's really important to recognize when you're starting to go down that road and do course corrections. And it's okay to tell people, hey, you know what? I recognize that's what I was doing, and I'm going to correct that. Tell people, be transparent. Tell them that you were going down the wrong path. Tell them that you're going to course correct. Make sure that people understand that you want to be a better leader. You want to make sure that you're trying to be the leader that they deserve. The other thing that I think is really important, I kind of touched on this earlier, was that if you don't know what your roles and responsibilities are, how can you even be empowered to do the right thing? How can you even know what you're empowered to do if you don't even know what your roles and responsibilities are? So don't wait for your leaders to tell you what those roles and responsibilities are. Write them out and send them to them. Say, hey, you know what? I think that my roles and responsibilities are X. Do you agree? How should this change? And communication is very important. Some programs have some companies have communication plans, some don't. So one thing that I found, I went on to a program, they didn't have a communication plan at all. No one knew who they were allowed to talk to. They didn't know they could talk to the supplier or the customer or the peers. They didn't know who they were allowed to talk to. So there was a major contract that was being negotiated, and one of the employees just called, the customer called and they wanted some information. So he thought, well, you know what, I can give them that information. That's not proprietary. That's fine. I don't need to worry about that. That's free reign. Well, that information tanked the award. And it was all because, and he didn't know. He honestly didn't know that because that information has been provided before. But he didn't know that information was vital for that award. So was it his fault, or was it the fact that his leaders didn't even provide him that this information shouldn't be shared at this time? But 6 months ago, it wouldn't have hurt anything, right? Timely communication and timely information is critical. Doing one-on-one discussions with your management, you do not have to wait for your manager to have a one-on-one conversation with you. I'm sure most companies, they have a year-end conversation. You're going to sit down with them. You're going to find out what your strengths and weaknesses are and what people think about you, right? How many times do you wait for that conversation before you actually talk to your manager, right? Why wait? Understand what's going through their heads. Understand why they have this, right? And that leads me to bias, right? I'm not gonna going to go deep in this, but biases are important. Know what your biases are, know what people think about your bias, and understand why they might appear to believe that those biases are happening. I had a very interesting problem where I went to work and someone said, "Oh, well, you must have carpal tunnel." I'm so sorry. And I was so confused. What are they talking about, carpal tunnel? I don't have carpal tunnel. I have cerebral palsy. And I didn't understand that that's what they were talking about. They thought I had carpal tunnel, and I had cerebral palsy, and then I fell one day, and they thought like the world was coming down. And the only reason why I fell was because I had cerebral palsy, right? And that's just a really simplification of what a bias might be at work. But if people will make up stories about you if they don't even know what you got. Right? They have all kinds of ideas. It's like making a story up on what the trucker did, if they on the road because you had a long road trip and you're trying to make up stories about the people in the other cars. Right? I mean, that's a game that I always used to play going from New York to Florida, right? But people are going to do that at work too. If it's important to you and it's going to impact your day-to-day job, tell people. Correct them. Make it known. And then one of the main things that I want to say is you are enough. Now there's two different things that you might have. You might be self-deprecating yourself, right? Because you're basically making your own story up because, well, I'm not enough, so I'm not going to go apply for that job. So that's on you. Right? You're sabotaging your own career. And you need to go get a mentor and get help with how to do that. Or a coach or a sponsor, well, however you can do to correct that for your career path. But if someone else is saying you're not enough and they don't know who you are and what you can do, then that's where you can start correcting it. I had an interview once. In that interview, they went through and they started talking about something else that wasn't associated to my interview. And they said, well, you're not, they called me a couple days later, I didn't get a job. And I was like, well, why not? And they said, well, you don't have any finance background. Well, as you heard before, I have an MBA. Okay? I was the finance person for the Disability In network. I was the ERG finance person. So I have a lot of experience on multi-platforms for finance. They just never asked. So I didn't get the job because of something that they didn't ask, and they didn't look at my resume because it was on my resume. So that was a clue that I needed to move on to another job. I moved divisions, happier than ever, and then I reframed what I was going to do. And then what did I do? I called the person. I said, I want to have a monthly meeting with you because I want to know how I can do better next time. So when someone doesn't do something that's uncharacteristic about you're not enough, move around. Ask them to mentor you. Try to get that perspective as to why they thought you weren't enough to begin with. And then this is just the summary of just the empowerment. So I'm not going to go through it because I'm out of time, but I will be here afterwards, and I hope you really enjoyed the empowerment. The biggest thing is you are in charge of being empowered. Your manager only gives you the ability to be empowered. Thank you.
That was awesome. That was really great.
Although we're not going to have a Q&A session, are there any last words, anything you'd like to say?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to SWE. You've always been my biggest hero, and I really appreciate everything that the organization provides. And I'm just really thankful that I'll be around to be able to answer any questions, and good luck to all of your careers, and hopefully no one will ever put you down.
Thank you, Christy. We will now begin the recognition of the SWE Local Awards for the recipients that are joining us here in Seattle. I will introduce and describe the qualifications for each award, and then announce the award recipients. If you are an award recipient, you can pick up your award or certificate after the presentation is over. Certificates and awards are available at the table near the SWE backdrop. And if you'd like a photo after the awards presentation is finished, please find your group and line up next to the SWE backdrop. Lastly, after all the awards have been announced, I will ask all recipients to stand. We will then congratulate them all with a round of applause. Please hold your applause until the end of all award announcements. Thank you. The first category is the collegiate competition. The WE Collegiate Competition provides undergraduate and graduate students with the opportunity to present their research to a broad technical audience. The Collegiate Competition Award recipients are undergraduate Ashley Ulrichson, Haley Kamange, Abalea Meek. Our graduate recipients are Thong Nguyen, Nazik Shatir Razavi, and Claire Wu. The next category is the group awards. Group awards are for single events, not a series of events. The term group is defined here as any group of collegiate or professional SWE members that supports the SWE mission. First, I'd like to recognize the Membership Retention Award. This award recognizes SWE groups that have demonstrated exceptional membership retention over the past year. This is based on SWE membership data and only recognizes SWE sections, affiliates, and MAL groups. The local Membership Retention Award recipients are listed on the screen. Next in the group category are those receiving the Membership Growth Award. This award recognizes SWE groups that have demonstrated exceptional membership growth over the past year. This is based on SWE membership data and only recognizes SWE sections, affiliates, and MAL groups. The local membership growth recipients are listed on the screen. Now, I'd like to recognize the Joint Professional Collegiate Event Award. The award recognizes both a professional SWE group and a collegiate SWE group who plan and carry out a high-quality event. The Joint Professional Collegiate Event Award recipient is Rocky Mountain Section and Colorado School of Mines. Our next award in the group category is the Outstanding Professional Development Event Award. This award recognizes SWE groups who plan and carry out a high-quality professional development event. The Outstanding Professional Development Event Award recipients are Becton Dickinson, BD, Win plus STEM, Cal Poly Society of Women Engineers, Mind SWE, Rocky Mountain Section, and Smoky Mountain SWE. Next is the Outstanding Outreach Event Award. This award recognizes SWE groups who plan and carry out a high-quality outreach event to inspire future engineers. The Outstanding Outreach Event Award recipients are Cal Poly SWE, Society of Women Engineers, Wichita Professional Section, SWE San Diego Professional Section, Utah State University Society of Women Engineers Collegiate Section, and Washington State University Society of Women Engineers. Our final award from the group category is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Partner Award. This award recognizes groups that promote diversity and inclusion and show commitment to SWE's mission. The WE Local FY23 Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Partner Award recipient is Boeing Women Inspiring Leadership, Be Will. Next, I will present award recipients from the collegiate category. First, I want to recognize those receiving the Rising Star Award. This award recognizes SWE collegiate members with less than 2 years of SWE involvement who have made an outstanding contribution to SWE, SWE's partner organizations, the engineering community, or their campus. The Rising Star Award recipients are Bernice Chayaha with the University of North Texas, Chelsea Sun with the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, and Caroline White with Cal Poly. Our next collegiate award is the Guiding Star Award. This award recognizes members with at least 2 years of SWE involvement who have made an outstanding contribution to SWE, SWE's partner organizations, the engineering community, or their campus. The Guiding Star Award recipients are Nazik Chitir Razavi with Iowa State University and Thaivan Senatha Araja with Iowa State University. And our next award for the day is from the professional category. The Local New Elite Award. This award recognizes SWE members with less than 10 years of experience in an engineering technology, or a science related to the engineering profession, who have demonstrated outstanding technical performance and proactively served SWE's partners, and the community. The Local New Elite Award recipients are Ashley Johnson with L3 Harris Technologies and Sewitha Venjimore with Abbott Laboratories. And our final award to be announced is the We Local Engaged Advocate Award. This award honors individuals with a background in engineering technology, or science related to engineering who contributed to the advancement or acceptance of women in engineering. The recipients of the We Local Engaged Advocate Award are Ramak Asasari with Lockheed Martin Tau Beta Pi, Christine Bridgman with Cummings, Lori Kahn with Lockheed Martin, Tracy Wynn with Essential Eye Care Optometry, and Matt Weedle with Spirit Aerosystems. And now I ask all of tonight's award recipients to please stand. Everyone, please join me in a warm round of applause for all of tonight's award recipients. As a reminder, tonight's recipients can pick up their award or certificate at the table next to the SWE backdrop. And if you'd like a photo from our photographer, please line up next to the backdrop with your award. Congratulations to you all. And that concludes the award ceremony. Thank you for attending We Local Seattle. It was a treat to host this session. Now go out, use what you've learned, stay connected with your friends and mentors. After all, a world of opportunity awaits you. Thank you and good night.